Okay, brother. Thanks for doing the interview. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Rufus Clancy, Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Army retired, and I'm past Province Pole Mark of the Eastern Province.
Which province? What number province pole mark were you, and where were you initiated?
Number 22. I was initiated in the Columbia, Maryland Alumni Chapter. I pledged as an undergraduate, but for some unusual reasons, we had to close our line, and then I kept my interest and pledged actually went over in the alumni chapters.
Okay, great. Tell us about your ascent to become an Eastern Province pole mark, as well as some of the challenges that you ran into when you became an Eastern Province pole mark.
Well, initially I started out as the assistant keeper of record in my local chapter, and then I was elected, I guess because of the job that I did as the keeper of records, which is, as you know, a very important job within any chapter or organization. Following that, I became vice pole mark of the chapter, and then pole mark. I served 2 terms as pole mark of my local chapter. And in my second term as pole mark, I started serving as operating assistant for the first province pole mark that I served under. And I served under 2 province pole marks as operating assistants, and then as the senior province vice pole mark. And at the end of that term, I was appointed as province pole mark. Now, some of the challenges that I faced immediately was that we had several of our undergraduate chapters, and a couple of alumni chapters that were under suspension at the time. And I felt that in order for the province to grow and move forward, that we needed to attack that. The Grand Pole Mark agreed and allowed me to work with the local chapters in bringing back our chapters. One of our greatest achievements was bringing back our single letter chapter.
Okay, great. We're celebrating 90 years as a province. In your opinion, what makes the Eastern Province great?
Actually, the leadership that I go way back, I'm talking about the original leadership within the Eastern Province. I was in a meeting the other day, and one of the past Grand Pole Marks made a comment on how one of the Grand Pole Marks, he was a candidate for Grand Pole Mark, he was a doctor. And the question was asked to him, how are you going to be Grand Pole Mark and maintain your medical practice? He walked away from his medical practice in order to become Grand Pole Mark and serve this fraternity. So those were the types of men that influenced me, and I was very impressed with and tried to model myself after in running the province. You had to be all in when you were a province pole mark.
Excellent. What are some of the great things that have come out of the Eastern Province and some of the outstanding Kappa men who've come out of the province?
Well, one I just alluded to, and some of you will recognize, I was referring to Grand Pole Mark Henry Stud Green. But we've had so many, it'd be difficult in the time that we have here for me to name them, but the Eastern Province, in my observation, has been one of the leaders in providing that service to the fraternity. And a lot of the great leaders, Brother Samuel D. Proctor, and I could go on and on. I don't want to get Brother Abrams, some of the people that were here during my time as chapter pole mark and as province pole mark. The other thing, in addition to the leadership, is the effort that normal, ordinary brothers put forth in our efforts in support of the foundation. We're number 1 in the Eastern Province in support of the foundation. The St. Jude effort, we're right up at the top of that. Almost any indicator or indices that you can measure a province by, the Eastern Province has been number 1, and I look forward to continue doing that in the future.
So you actually almost answered the last question, which is, what does the future look like for the Eastern Province?
I think it looks bright. We've had a little bit of turbulence in the past couple of years, but we're on a steady course now, and we're on an upward trajectory, which is always the best trajectory to be on. And I think that's where the Eastern Province is right now under the current leadership. We're consolidating the province. If you've looked at your confidential bulletin, which I commend on this last one that came out, you will find out that the Eastern Province is now the largest province in the fraternity in terms of our financial support. So the brothers are what make the Eastern Province's future look really great.
Excellent. Any other thoughts?
No, just I commend you on the job that you're doing here, and it's fantastic, because a lot of this we need to look at every once in a while to make sure we share it with all of the brothers, so we're all well informed and know that we are the flagship province.
That's right. Thank you, Brother Clancy.
Thank you.